Everybody, happy Monday. On our way out to Rockwood to put up some signs. I actually have an awesome historic colonial house coming soon today, and it'll be active for showings on Friday. But I want to get into more of a market update. I'm going to talk about just our area here in East Tennessee, what's going on, what we're seeing there, because real estate is usually like 30 to 45 days behind as far as getting data and being able to paint the picture as far as like what's going on. But I can tell you, I've done a few videos in the last couple weeks where don't necessarily know what's going on. Can't put my finger on anything. I mean, rates, I think, just dropped below 7% barely, which is the lowest they've been in like 2 months or so, which is a good sign. It's always a good sign when rates drop for everybody in real estate. But it doesn't look like, there's anything changing there or expected to change from a drastic, should you buy now or wait now standpoint of like what, how that decision should be impacted. There really isn't no sign that they're going to, do nothing but probably slowly drop over the next 2 years. As I mentioned, I really don't even expect rates by the end of this year to be into the fives. And boy, would I love to be wrong on that. So let's talk about total inventory we have. I was looking, and I actually got a handy dandy notepad / piece of paper here that I got some notes on to talk about today. So there's 5,381 active listings here in East Tennessee in our MLS. Which is a decent number. That's actually dropped nearly 1,000 houses since like November. I mentioned before in some other videos, December, this was the biggest December month in closings. I think we had 18 or 19 closings, which was the most that I had ever had or seen in my career as far as our team goes and my personal production there. And then January for us was a ton of contracts. I think we closed like 14 or 15, which is a very high number for January, because then that's you going under contract, 30 to 45, 60 days before then. February's kind of been, it's been really good, but also kind of really bad in some ways. It's been really good, but we've probably had a record number of accepted contracts in February. Not exaggerating, in the last, since Friday through this morning, our team got 9 accepted contracts, various buyers and sellers, but 9 accepted contracts in 3 days. We currently have over 40 pending contracts. We have never had that number. I've never hit that number in 21 and 22. Now, our team is bigger. Right, in 21 it was essentially just me with an admin. In 22, I think there was maybe 4 or 5 of us. When the market was crazy. So now, we actually just hired our full-time office manager. So now we have a full team of 15 people. And I would say of those, like, I don't know, 10 of us are full-time, 9 or 10 of us are full-time agents. So our team's grown, as well as the people that partner with us, such as your Redfin and Zillow and Realtor.com and Open Door and all these people that want us to help buyers and sellers that are attached to them. So that's obviously grown our production levels, but even like with that, like it's not the reason. Like we all of a sudden just don't have like crazy amount of more people. And rates haven't really changed, so I don't really know what's going on. Why we're kind of we have so many contracts going, and I can tell you, if you talk to any of the agents on our teams, we're slammed with all great problems. I mean, people they're still kind of what we call window shopping a lot. They're traditionally, 4 or 5 years ago, they were looking at like 3 to 5 homes and putting offers in, and today they're looking at like 5 or 10 homes before they put an offer in. So it's a lot more work on the real estate side, to like get a deal. And then about 30% of all of our contracts here in East Tennessee on average ends up in a fall through. Now, some of those buyers never buy. They just end. They're tired of it. They got pissed off. Something bad happened, and it was a fall through. But a lot of those buyers do end up, going under contract, another home. It was a bad inspection, something like that. So that's always something to consider. And the amount of, of their 40 contracts. We know law of averages, we're probably, 10 of those or so are just going to be a fall through. Just due to something that, we can't necessarily control, and because we're always working in the best interest of our people to make sure that, they're getting a good home and there isn't anything crazy going on in the inspection. So, I would say inventory's been pretty stable about the last month around this number. So what I did here was I kind of dove into some niches, and I, in particular, niches that we do a lot. Our average price point's around a little less than 300,000. We help the everyday people. We help the first-time buyers. We help the VA buyers. We help the rural development buyers. We help arguably, below median and average closings, which we take a lot of pride in. We really enjoy that, where a lot of people just ignore their phone calls, don't help them. We help people buy the $25,000 lots, the same as we do if they're calling us on a $2 million house. Our service is the same. I'm big on that. My agents understand that, I do expect that service to be the same throughout. But what I did was, from that total inventory, I looked into VA buyers, right? And so for purposes of the conversation, to kind of make it easy too, if it can go FHA, it can go VA. And really the difference is not all VA homes can go FHA. FHA does have a financial cap to where over a certain price point, and I'm not sure what it is. I think it's somewhere around $500,000 to $550,000 in our area, because they based it essentially a lot by area and zip code. So, and same thing with USDA, right? It's by area and zip code. So, you may be approved for, let's say, 300,000 in Roane County, but you may be for USDA, but you may be approved for 350,000 Knox County for USDA. And again, I'm making these numbers up, but it's more so to paint the picture so you understand it. Because of just average closings, right? So the higher the average closing is, for example, like Nashville has a much higher FHA rate. I think it goes up to like 700,000-800,000, whereas here, we just bumped up, I think, to like 500,000 or so. So essentially, almost half the inventory can go VA, which is great. But that's also VA, right? Does not essentially have a price point, all right? And pretty much most homes above 500,000 is going to be in pretty good shape around here, and all those homes are going to be VA. So then I put a filter on it, and I said, okay, how many VA homes under 300,000? That's where it dropped real quick. We went to 751 homes. So think VA, right? Think a lot of times it probably can also go USDA, or it can also go FHA. Under 300,000 especially. And then so I niched it a little bit more. I said, all right, VA, I said, how many under 300,000, but it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, which is what most people want when they're looking for a home. That number dropped to 396. So it almost dropped by half whenever I added a 3-bedroom bath. All right, we're back. So it almost dropped by half. Now this is where we have a lot of buyers, and I'm doing this because we always create like what we call create expectations for what's going to happen next. And it's a hard conversation to have when somebody comes to me and they say, hey, Stephen, I'm pre-approved, which we're so happy, great, awesome. And their budget, it's just for the purposes of the number, we're using 300,000. Say, yeah, I'm looking for something 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,000 square foot on like 5 acres. It's not really, it does not exist. If it exists, it's in the middle of nowhere. Probably not anywhere close to your job. So, it's really hard to kind of hit people with the bad news, but we also don't want to lead them on, as that's kind of a unicorn. So as soon as I put 1+ acre, so under 300,000, at least 3 bedrooms and 2 bath on 1 acre, there's 83 homes listed in total that can go VA. That is it. And that covers, I don't know how many counties is in our MLS, at least 15 to probably 20 counties. And you're talking in a 60-mile, hour and a half around the Knoxville area, all the way up to the Kentucky line, over into Crossville, even Cookville to an extent, over into Morristown, all the way down, essentially almost to Chattanooga, down into, Athens, Sweetwater, all that area. That probably doesn't work for a lot of people based on where you work at. And then, so I even went there. I said, okay, so there's 83 homes that can go VA that's on 1 acre plus, at least 3 bedroom, 2 bath. And we do a lot of double wides, and again, big fan of them for certain situations. And I said, well, how